Hello and welcome to the Too Much Apparently podcast. If you're new here, this is a podcast for the deeply feeling, overthinking, emotionally overloaded humans who've been told they're too much apparently. And if you're back, thanks for choosing to sit with us again.
We're Alice and Carly, two therapists who are also just sensitive weirdos trying to make sense of life, healing, and our own brains. This isn't a professional advice podcast. It's more like the messy, honest conversations that happen when you finally feel safe enough to say what you're really thinking.
This space is for people like us, the ones who've been called too sensitive, too serious, too emotional, too intense, and have spent way too long believing that it's true.
Okay, on with the episode.
Today we're talking about something that doesn't get talked about enough, what it's like when everyone around you is in full festive mode and you're just not fine.
Yep, this one's for the people who are expected to show up, smile, and be merry, while internally they're drowning in fairy lights, relentless Christmas music, and the sheer sensory assault of it all.
We're talking about why the festive season can be particularly brutal for sensitive, neurodivergent, and deeply feeling humans, and why it's the most wonderful time of the year can feel like gaslighting when your nervous system is screaming.
And how the relentless cheer, the sensory overload, and the expectation to just get into the spirit can leave you feeling like the Grinch. Except you're not stealing Christmas, you're just trying to survive it.
So whether you're dreading the office party, the packed shopping centre, or just the sheer volume of everything, you're not alone and you're definitely not broken.
Basically, this one's for anyone who's ever wanted to hibernate straight through December. So let's get into it. Can I just say, I feel like that intro was just gold.
Do you?
I was finding it hard to keep a straight face whilst we were doing the intro. I just felt like there were so many. I don't know what other people would think listening to it, but I just thought it was really clever.
Good.
So, Christmas episode.
See, I'm ready for this because I love
Yeah.
Christmas, but I know that there are people that don't and that can be really difficult because it's all like holly jolly and happy and, most wonderful time of the year. But if you're not feeling it, I think that can be quite difficult.
Yeah, absolutely. And I also love Christmas, but have difficulties with it. And there have certainly been years where I have not been in the festive, merry mood at all. But it also, I don't know, I feel good talking about a Christmas episode and also talking about all the difficulties that come along at Christmas time. But just to say, we are doing a second Christmas episode, aren't we, just before Christmas? And that's going to focus on difficulties with navigating relationships around Christmas and that forced close proximity with family members, or if you aren't in contact with family members or have tricky relationships. So there is another part to this if you think, hang on, you're not talking about the most difficult part, all of those relationships. It's coming.
Yeah. This one is mainly going to focus on the sensory aspect of Christmas and how overwhelming that can be.
Yeah.
For some people, not for everybody.
No. And just the pressures to get into the Christmas spirit and gift giving dynamics and Christmas parties and the socializing aspect that might come with it. So, all of those difficulties.
I'm just trying to think on the spot, what are the hardest sensory side of things for me? Because and maybe there aren't that many. The one thing that's coming to mind is like itchy Christmas jumpers. Or tinsel in your hair. Did you ever have tinsel in your hair when you were a little girl?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
it would tickle and itch and
Tickle and itchy. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Don't do that
think
anymore.
there are sensory elements of Christmas that really lean into the sensory seeking side, where there are sensory pleasures relating to Christmas, and then the sensory hell that's related to Christmas. So it would be great to dive into this to the sensory aspect. But off the top of my head, I personally love fairy lights, just all year round. Fairy lights, love them so much. But the strong Christmas smells and fragrances that then people would start having all over their house, just like chemically gingerbread or cinnamon. No, like cinnamon. Why would you want your house to smell like cinnamon? No.
Yeah.
Those kinds of things. Yeah, they're a big no from me.
See, I love a candle, but it's got to be a good one. It's got to be a good quality one. And then obviously they tend to be really expensive. But yeah, the chemically smells. Oh, yeah, no.
Yeah.
I went to Estonia once years ago. God, it must be like 23 years ago now. And outside every single shop, they've got a candle with some kind. I think they all have the same smelling candle outside every single shop, and it is that kind of orange cinnamon kind of smell. So the whole town
No
smells
way.
of yeah, yeah,
Just
yeah,
outside. I've never
yeah,
known
yeah.
of that before, just putting candles to change the scent of the outside space.
Yeah, yeah. It was gorgeous. It was absolutely lovely. If you love the smell. If you don't love the smell, you're kind of stuck.
I'd be there with a
Yeah.
mask on.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that's coming to mind for me is the crowds. So I've recently
Mm.
moved near to Manchester, and obviously Manchester Christmas market is one of the big Christmas markets. And it's so busy, and that kind of like jostling through a crowd. I don't like, I wouldn't have this so much. I'm thinking about when we've talked about clubbing and things, or like if I go to a gig, I don't have it when I go to a gig. I'm fine being squashed in and kind of jostled around with people. But Christmas markets and like busy supermarkets and like everybody trying to get the whatever Christmas dinner essential that you need. Yeah. I find that
Yeah.
I like my space. I don't like to go to places when they're really busy. So I can find that quite overwhelming and stressful. And I think it's only recently I realized that I was aware that I'd get like snappy and irritated and all that. But yeah, there's something about being in a busy place when I need space that can
Yeah.
really irritate me. Yeah.
Yeah. I can cope better with crowds if it's in an outdoor space like a Christmas market. I mean, I don't love it, but it's not too bad. But of anything related to being inside with crowds, like a shopping center, not no. You're not gonna see me in a shopping center, and you're not gonna see me in the supermarket either. So I will give those jobs to other people. Yeah, no, that would be significantly far too overwhelming. As you said, that mad rush of people. I am not someone that rushes through life. I mean, my whole life, people have described me as slow. I do everything slow. I was always the last one at the table as a child, still eating my dinner. So when other people are rushing around me, I get really
Mhm.
irritated by it because people are then a bit more careless.
Mm.
Yeah, which I just don't like. So you wouldn't even see me in the places where that is going to happen. And if you did see me there, it would be brief in and out because I absolutely had no other choice. So
Yeah.
I am the person who is having delivery after delivery after delivery when I'm doing my Christmas shopping. When people are talking about going to the shopping centers to get their Christmas shopping done, like online all the way.
No. I used to do it in person and I used to do it last minute. So I was a single mom. I didn't have an awful lot of money. So I'd have to wait for my December pay that came on like the 22nd, 23rd, something like that. And I would write out everything I needed. I'd write out which shop it was in, and then I'd draw myself a route and what I needed to get. And I'd get the wrapping paper last because I'd have to get the bus home. So I'd be there with like all these massive bags and then clinging onto the wrapping paper at the end. Oh
That
dear.
paints such a stressful image to me.
It was super stressful. It was super stressful. Yeah. But I pulled it off. And I think I did have some pride at being able to pull it off. I was a lot younger then. I don't think I'd be able to pull it off anymore. Just thinking about supermarkets and the fluorescent lights. And I
Mm.
think with Christmas, there's an extra pressure to like get the exact things that you need. Yeah, that's just not for me at all.
Yeah. I think part of the reason I'm able to enjoy and look forward to Christmas more is because the things that I find stressful, I've kind of just given other people to do.
Mm.
So I do all the Christmas shopping online, the
Yeah,
food Christmas shop, somebody else does. I don't
yeah,
even cook the Christmas dinner, somebody else does that. I just entertain whoever comes. So much of the things that I would find really stressful and too overwhelming has been overtaken by people who, well, even enjoy doing that.
yeah.
You know, my partner enjoys hosting Christmas, being the one that's cooked all the food and everything. So
Mm.
I'm not torturing him by him doing it all. Like he enjoys it and I don't. So I'm like, hey, that works for
That
me.
works. Yeah, yeah.
But perhaps there's something in there also about how enjoyable or not we can find the Christmas period versus how much support we have, how much is all on our shoulders versus when we can delegate or share that load with other people. Christmas always to me conjures the time of year as well in terms of it being really dark, it being really cold outside, or being really glum. I've said this before, but I would be happy with a proper winter where it's snowy all the time, bright blue skies, that kind of a winter. But because ours is just slushy and grey, dark and miserable, those kinds of things I don't like. And the cold gets to me quite a lot. But it is nice if I can get out for a little walk with the dogs too at night time. It's nice when all the lights are on and you have something nice to look at as you're wandering around. That's like a nice part of it.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. I feel like I should have prepared more to think about the sensory side of it, given that it's a sensory episode. I think it's harder to do because I don't actually experience it all that much. But also, when I did pull on this hat, I did think this is fun and cute, but it's hot.
Yeah.
And this is how I feel inside.
Yeah, I can think of lots of sensory things. So I don't mind if lights are flashing on the outsides of people's houses, but if
Mhm.
they have their Christmas tree lights like it's a freaking disco or something, I can't have that going on and like be watching TV or talking at the same time.
Yeah.
That's a little bit much. What type of lights do you have on your tree?
So what we have is a warm white, because when they're so white that they're almost blue, can't stand that. But also, I much prefer to have them static or on a slow glow. I don't really like any of the sort of chasing ones. But also, I have a kind of childlike part of me that really misses the kind of retro 80s multicolored ones. I do like those. I'm trying to weave some color back into things. But I don't like outside lights.
Oh, at
And I'm
all?
okay. Yeah, I'm okay where we live at the moment because we're in a cul-de-sac, so I can't see anybody else's house. But when we've lived opposite people before, and it's like flashing into my bedroom window, I'm just like, oh, go away. Yeah,
Oh, okay, that side of things. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
mhm,
I think because I tend to have like blackout curtains as soon as it's shut, I don't really
yeah.
tend to notice that. But yeah, I also have to have the warm lights all the way. Cold lights, no. Again, outside fine, but in the house, warm lights all the way. But my mum still has and loves the coloured lights. She
Mhm.
thinks they're the best lights to have the colour one.
Yeah,
So I do like them, but yeah, I prefer to have the warm ones definitely.
yeah,
And from a pleasant sensory experience, I like having a real tree.
yeah. We have a real tree as well. Although every year we buy it, I'm like, this is so expensive. No,
Yeah,
it does smell good, doesn't it?
it does smell really good. I mean, every year I get one, I feel guilty because it's not great for the planet to have real trees. So every year I'm like, shouldn't really have a real tree. I can't not. I love
Yes.
real trees.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the smell that they give off just feels really nice, and I like decorating the tree.
Mm.
That's always nice. I always put Christmas music on
Mhm.
and decorate the tree, decorate the house. So
Yeah.
they're nice things. I love the house being decorated for Christmas. I know some people find that a bit much. I mean, a friend of mine takes all her decorations down on Boxing Day, I think, because she finds it from a sensory perspective like, oh, just a bit cluttered and a bit
Yeah.
too much. So the moment it's done, she's like, I need to get it down.
Yeah.
Whereas when I take all mine down, I'm like, oh, my house looks really bare.
Yeah. I think I'm a bit of a mix. So we always do our tree on the last weekend of November to get the maximum Christmas time. And it always comes down on the 6th of January. And I'm not having anything taken down before that. But when I do take it down, I do have a massive sigh of relief of like, oh, right, that feels better. That feels clearer.
Mm.
So it does feel bare, but it feels bare in a good way to me.
Yeah, you're kind of
Yeah.
just like, oh, okay.
Yeah. And then I'm ready for my birthday on the 8th.
Yeah, so then it's birthday mode.
Yeah.
If you do, or if you had to, do the Christmas shopping in person, being in a packed space, having the overstimulation of all the lights and the different songs blasting out of the different shops, what impact would that have on you?
So I do my Christmas food shop. I do a split on my food shop. I do most of the stuff that you'd have in the cupboard. I do that online. But then all the fresh stuff, I'll go and buy it from the supermarket so that I'm getting exactly the thing that I want. And I think for me, there just has to be a level of acceptance that it is probably going to dysregulate me. I'm probably going to find it quite stressful. I generally get my second oldest child to come with me. He's quite calm. So that helps to regulate me. I find checkouts in general very stressful
Yeah.
because I feel like I just can't go fast enough and it just feels like a lot. So having someone there to help me with the checkout bit is important, but also just knowing that I am going to need some time after having done that to probably go to bed and turn the lights off and just lie down in the quiet and dark and not do anything for a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it sounds almost like a sprint that you've got to endure and then
Yeah.
afterwards totally recover from.
Yes. Yeah.
It would be a similar experience for me. Very stressful, very overwhelming. I'd be very tense, probably come away with a headache or a migraine of some sort. And probably when I very first got there, it'd be a bit much, but it might feel okay. Kind of like a grit your teeth and bear it as you're
Mm.
going round. But the very end part, where it's then about getting out the shop and the checkout and stuff,
Yeah.
that's almost like just the worst part then, because it's like, oh, you've got all your stuff, but now you've got to do
Yeah.
this bit. Although I quite like the scanners where you scan it yourself as you go round and then you just have to pay at the end. Unless you get
Oh,
picked for
yeah.
one of them random checks. They're so annoying. I just want to get out the store now. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, they make
Mm.
checkouts a little bit more bearable, but yeah, overall I would need to recover from it the same.
Mm. Yeah, I think another thing that I can struggle with is like family days out. I think I can struggle with family days out anyway because it's like, you're supposed to be having fun and with neurodivergent children, inevitably somebody's not having fun. But with Christmas days out, it feels like there's extra pressure because they're so expensive, but also they're so loud. And the one that we've been to the last few years, they like pick people from the crowd at random to come and do extra like bits. And oh no,
Yeah, I was listening. I'm like, no.
no. But I don't want to be a Grinch about it. I want to be a fun mum.
This is the point of the episode, isn't it?
Mm.
About how feeling this way then makes us feel within ourselves, where it feels like, reminded me of the boring episode, but where we feel like we're being boring, we're not being fun enough, we're being a Grinch, we're being a Scrooge.
Mm.
Um, all of those other things that if you're not loving it and in the magic of it all the time, that
Mm.
you're going to get some sort of don't be such a Scrooge kind of comments, or just feel that in yourself that you're not living up to this expectation of how you're thinking you're supposed to be in that situation.
Yeah. And I wonder if, so we said in that episode about pub culture, and I wonder if you notice that that increases around Christmas time with like Christmas parties and things like that. And actually, I was thinking the other day, we had said last year we were going to do the Christmas party this year, and then I've just completely forgotten about it.
Oh,
I'm not sure if
yeah.
it's on or not this year. But obviously, because we're self employed, there is no office Christmas party because there's just us. But even though there's just me and I'm not having an office Christmas party, I am already starting to feel the pressure of, so my uni group want to do Christmas drinks, which I'm going to go to. But then I've thought, oh, but my book club, they're also going to want to do Christmas drinks. So we'll do that. And it doesn't take much before in an already busy schedule, you're having to squeeze into the downtime that I need to survive my
Mm,
week.
yes. Yeah.
Yeah, it's tricky because there's part of me that really wants to go and celebrate with these people. And so with the people on my uni course, wanting to get to know them better. But I do find socializing a strain sometimes, that it gets into that whole small talk and yeah.
The difference between wanting to be included. Sometimes I think the idea of these things sound nice.
Yes.
Like, oh, drinks with the book club or drinks with
Yeah.
my uni friends. The
Yeah.
idea of that sounds really nice and
Yeah.
something that in our minds we would think maybe we would want to do. And then the reality of then actually doing it, slotting it in, as
Mm.
you said, to the already busy period, the overwhelm and socializing drain that you know may come afterwards and how much it's going to take, and thinking about the small talk element that the reality of it is it ends up becoming a lot. And it's if it was just one event, then you might be okay. But then when you've been invited to several events,
Yeah.
and even just not events, but just arranging to see people before Christmas to give them their presents and those kinds of things, there's still like having to do the rounds.
Yeah.
Yeah, to make sure that you've got everything and you've seen everybody before it gets to Christmas Day. So
Mhm.
it's a lot, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. And what I'm thinking about as you're talking there is like, I like Christmas. And what we're basically talking about, and of course we are because it's what the episode's about, but what we're basically talking about is how difficult we can find it. And this is for people who like it. So if you don't even like Christmas, it must be so much harder.
Yeah, no, that's such a good point. I
Mm,
think if you don't really like Christmas and everything that it brings, it must be really difficult to cope with then all of this stuff.
mm,
Because people then just aren't understanding of those who say, I'm going to spend Christmas by myself this year.
mm,
Because some people will do that. They say, actually, I'm going to have a year of not doing what's expected of me, and I'm just going to have Christmas by myself. In fact, there was a couple of years ago where I'd gone through a difficult year, and I kind of had that thought myself of, do you know what? I might just have Christmas by myself. And it wasn't coming from like a depressive feel sorry for myself, isolate myself way. I genuinely just thought it might actually just be quite nice just to have the Christmas day on my
yeah,
own. Oh my gosh, but you say that to somebody, and it's like you're proposing something absolutely preposterous. Like,
yeah,
what? You
yeah,
can't be alone on Christmas?
mm,
Yeah, just like it's absolutely not something that you are allowed to do or could be seen as being okay.
mhm. Yeah, yeah. I think going away for Christmas is a great idea if you're somebody that doesn't really enjoy Christmas or doesn't want to get involved in all of that. When we went to Orkney, like we've done that a couple of times, and that was really good. And I did it when my second child was born as well. We went away to somewhere in Aberdeenshire, and just I think the fact that we chose locations that are really quite far away from things adds to that. Yeah, you can just do your own thing. You don't have to worry about what everybody else wants, and um, I take it at your own pace. I think that's the thing. I think in the past it would be like, well, we need to go here to be with these parents and go here to be with these parents, and there's all this kind of moving around and rushing, and packing things up and making sure you haven't forgotten anything, and yeah, just being able to chill out
Hmm.
so much better.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, I will talk about that more in the next episode when we're talking about
Mm,
family and relationships. But Christmas is when your parents are divorced and there's different sets of families to spend time with, it does end up becoming all just about travel.
yeah.
Going from here to there and here to there, trying to drive about on Christmas Day or Boxing Day, that
Mm,
it does end up becoming this whole palaver. It's a lot.
it is a lot. Why do you think the festive season is so exhausting, even when you're not actually doing that much?
Well, I think even for those of us who do live life in the slower lane and maybe don't get out and about as much as other people, often I think we live that way because that suits our nervous system and our energy levels and how we're wired anyway. So I think even if we're doing a bit more than normal, that's still going to exhaust us, even if other people are going to several Christmas parties and are out and about all the time. Just for us, if it steps up a bit, that is going to make it more exhausting. But I do think it's the increase in social pressures, whatever that looks like. I think thinking about gift giving as well can be exhausting. There was a
Mm,
time when I was younger where I was known for being the person that gave really thoughtful gifts, which is a very nice thing to be. But I think when I was younger, I just must have had the time and energy and capacity to really think about thoughtful
mm,
gifts and get them
mm,
ahead of time. And as the years got on, I felt like my gifts got less and less thoughtful. But I think because I didn't have the time, space, or energy to really give a thoughtful gift.
yeah.
The commercialization of Christmas just ends up putting on so much panic and pressure and all the people that you feel like you should buy gifts for. So there was a time where I just had so many people on my Christmas list that it just wasn't possible to give a thoughtful gift to everybody. And I think that created so much stress and overwhelm
Mm,
until it reached the point where I said, this is ridiculous. And I stripped my Christmas list back. It's like, no,
mm.
you don't get a present. You don't get a present. But I just decided to alter it where focusing on Christmas on like my immediate friends and family, and then trying to give other people. So, like friends' children, for example, I used to give gifts to all of my friends' children. But I stopped doing that and I said, still going to get them a birthday present because that feels more personal. It's their birthday.
Yeah.
But Christmas, I just stopped giving them gifts because it was just getting ridiculous and cost so much money. So definitely, I feel like I'm going into what was helpful now. But anyway, stripping back on who I was giving gifts to was helpful. But yeah, so I think the pressures of gift giving
Mhm.
and the financial stress and pressure of Christmas in and of itself, the stress of that is then going to be exhausting. So you could be having a really quiet Christmas in the build up, but if you've still got lots of people to buy for, even just like
Mhm.
food is so expensive now, just day
Yeah.
to day. So
Mhm.
Christmas food or drink, and it's not just Christmas because then it's Boxing Day and then it's not long till it's New Year's Eve. So
Yeah.
December is an
Mhm.
expensive month. And that's if you then take your children or you go with your friends to a Christmas lights event or a
Yeah.
Christmas market.
Mhm.
So there's just so many expensive things on that I think
Yeah.
the financial pressures and stress makes the month really exhausting as well for a lot of people. And
Yeah.
gosh, that's just a few things straight away off the top of my head as a reason
Yeah.
why it might be exhausting.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, and, as you're thinking about the cost of things, I was literally just yesterday looking at Christmas pajamas. So one of my children had said, "Can we have matching Christmas pajama?" And I was like, "Oh, yeah, so that's a lot of money when we're a family of 7." But also I was like, as I was looking at them and thinking, "Oh, okay, maybe we can just stretch to it. They'll last. We can use them next year, the year after, the year after." And then I was like, "Well, no, we can't because the little ones are still growing. So unless I buy them like 3 sizes too big and they just drown them this year, then next year they won't fit. So they won't be matching. So even for the ones of us that it won't, that won't change size, they won't be matching anymore." But it's
Yeah.
all so commercialized, isn't it? I think it was the same with Halloween a few weeks ago, and um, yeah, and with Christmas, like there's so many things, and it always feels like you've got to have all these things, like
Yeah.
Christmas Eve boxes or Advent boxes are the next thing, and
Yeah, or
I
families that do Elf on the Shelf. That
oh
always,
yeah,
I mean, it looks fun and really imaginative and creative, but I imagine, obviously not having kids, that the day to day of it, actually, it's just another pressure.
yeah, we do Elf on the Shelf. We've done Elf on the Shelf for at least 11 years now.
Oh, wow. I didn't know it'd been around that long.
Yeah, and the amount of time, I mean, thankfully, that is one of the things that I've delegated to my husband. So and the amount of times it'll be like 11 o'clock at night and he'll be like, "Oh, I've forgotten the elf." Um, so yeah, there's all that kind of extra pressure. And I notice content creators now will say things like, "And you don't have to do this for your family. It's not essential." It's like, yeah, but you're still pushing out content around something more to do, more to do, more to do. And the person saying you don't have to do things, you can still have a nice Christmas without it, doesn't really take away that feeling of like, "Oh, but I feel like I should," or if lots of my children's mums are doing this, are they gonna feel like they haven't? And yeah, yeah, it's a lot, isn't it?
It is a lot, yeah. And the gift giving element, I think,
Mm,
is such a stress and such a
yeah,
pressure. And I've
yeah,
certainly got my perspective on why I feel that is for me. And you've already mentioned some of it for yourself. Yeah, so you were saying about feeling like you want to spend the same amount on your kids, but also they have to have like the same type of present, and then their present pile has to look kind of the
yeah,
same, which must be
yeah,
so hard with such a broad range of ages. Because typically, as you get older, the presents get more expensive and you get less presents, don't you?
yeah,
So I
yeah,
don't know how you manage that so that the piles look
yeah.
equal.
Yeah, yeah, it's a bit of creative home bargains shopping for things that come in a bigger box, and I don't always, I don't always achieve it. And last year, my youngest had a Barbie dream house, and like the box on that is enormous. It's ridiculous. So there was no way I was going to be able to even that out. But yeah, I hadn't. It was really helpful actually to hear you say about not having the time to kind of put into the thoughtful gift giving, because I've been feeling for the last few years like, "Oh, why am I feeling resentful of doing this process? Like, I don't want to feel like that." But actually, I think what it was is that I'm trying to do it around an extremely busy life now. Whereas when I'm thinking back to the past, when I was finding it easier or even enjoyable to do, I think it was probably when I wasn't working. It was probably when I was on maternity leave and able to just kind of sit and um, yeah, think about, just casually about what we wanted. and didn't have so much financial pressure back then. So yeah.
Yeah, it makes such a big difference.
Mm.
Yeah. I find the gift giving element really hard when there's not like a specified amount of money that you're each knowing that you're spending on one another. And
Yeah.
am I matching the gift in terms of value of the gift? Because I really just don't like the idea of somebody spending more money on me.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't mind if I've spent a bit more on that person than they've spent on me.
Yeah.
And again, I feel like this is wrong, but I feel like I would mind if I'd spent quite a bit on that person and they'd not really spent that much on me.
Yeah. Well, I wonder if there's something is there something underneath that about effort or about valuing the person, or, do you feel that you're valued? So even though it is kind
Yeah.
of hinging on the financial, that maybe there's something else going on underneath it too.
Yeah, it comes down to how important or valued I feel in that friendship. It would be different if someone said, "I'm really struggling financially this year. I'm just going to get you a little gift," and
Mm.
I knew that, not
Yeah.
bothered about that, and I would still spend the same amount, and that would be fine. But if it more came from, I don't know, it's similar to in the past where I've had friendships where I've given someone a really thoughtful gift for their birthday, and then I've maybe not even got a card from them for my birthday.
Mm. Yeah.
Like that kind of thing. I've had quite a few experiences of that in the past because I wanted to like give a really nice,
Mm.
thoughtful gift. And it's
Mm.
often not been then reciprocated, which on the odd occasion you don't mind. It's not always about getting something back, is it? But
Yeah.
when that's a bit of a pattern, it doesn't make you then feel great about yourself.
Yeah.
So I think I just really have this thing about wanting to know how much someone's spending on me so I know how much to spend
Yeah.
on them.
Mhm.
If anyone here likes Big Bang, there's a whole Big Bang episode on this, which is really, really funny, where one of the characters gets really in their head about how much the other person's got them for Christmas and just goes to the extreme in terms of getting them a present, which is really funny. But I related a lot. I was like, yeah, I wish we could just know exactly. It's the same with like my partner or with my mum. It's that wanting to know how much are you exactly spending on me, though, so I can make sure that I live up to that and I have spent that on you. I guess I
Mm.
don't want people to feel how I have then felt in the
Yeah.
past when it's not been reciprocated.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, it can be really complicated, can't it? Another thing that's popped into my head is about food and Christmas. And what if you don't like traditional Christmas dinner?
Yes.
And I think for a long time, I was quite rigid about this is what it had, this is what you can have because this is what Christmas dinner is. And you can eat bits or leave bits. Or I grew up in a family where you had to have a Brussels sprout. Even if you don't
Mm.
like it, you have to every year have at least one Brussels sprout. But in more recent years, yeah, my younger children, they're just not going to do that. They're just not going to eat it. So I'm really having to let go of my idea of what you're allowed to eat on Christmas Day, and wanting to, and parts of me really wanting to hold on to that. And I think there can be quite a lot of moralizing around fussy eaters.
Yes.
But one of my children is just not, they just won't eat then.
Yeah.
If it's not something that they like, it's not like, oh, well, they'll eat if they're hungry because they won't.
Yeah. Especially if you've got a lot of people coming for dinner, then there's going to be comments or potential judgments from other people if everyone's having this big roast dinner and then there's a child sat there having a pizza or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're almost
Yeah.
like, that's not okay. That's not okay
Yeah.
to do.
Yeah. But I think the way I deal with that is, well, that I'm trying to deal with that because it is still uncomfortable for me, is focusing on how can I make this day as special for the person that I have, for the child that I have, not for the way that I think it should be, or, society's ideas of how a mother should handle a child that's a fussy eater, or, whatever.
Mm.
And just making sure everybody's got something that they like.
Yes. Yeah. I never really used to understand the hype about the Christmas dinner because
Mm.
I don't know if I was just lucky, but growing up, a lot of Sundays, I had a Sunday dinner.
Mhm.
And people would be like, "Oh my God, I can't wait for my Christmas dinner." But I'd be so confused because I was like, I just had one. Like, it's just a Sunday dinner with a bit more trimmings. And so I could never understand why there was just this huge hype about the Christmas dinner. Wait, it's a Sunday dinner. I've just had one. I
Yeah,
don't understand. Maybe people didn't have as many as what I did, but
yeah,
carveries are such a staple, aren't they, here in Britain?
Yeah.
that I don't understand this whole idea about this specialness of this dinner,
Yeah.
which is just a Sunday dinner with a few extras on top.
I
Why
wonder
does it
what it is.
matter?
Yeah, I wonder what it is because it's a massive part of it for me, Christmas dinner. I love Christmas dinner. And I love making it special, but I think it is about the extra trimmings because we do have Sunday dinner every Sunday. Yeah, I think it is just about the extra trimmings that you wouldn't normally have.
Mhm.
And you're doing it with a cracker hat on,
Yeah.
and so it tastes different.
It tastes different because you got your cracker hat. It always slips off.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, it's a rubbish joke.
And the rubbish joke, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I guess also for me, being vegetarian
yeah,
means that it's not that I'm getting excited about all the different meats, or although my partner will cook 3 different types of meat, I'm just like, "That is just excessive." But there's still lots of nice things that I, of course, can have with my dinner.
mhm.
But as a vegetarian, there'll invariably be comments about like, "Oh, don't you feel you're missing out?" "No."
No,
No, I don't. Thank you.
yeah.
But there's usually some sort of comment because I think people are just so into their meat at
Mm,
Christmas. But I still
mm,
have the extra trimmings and stuff because I just get vegetarian
yeah,
pigs in blankets,
mhm,
which
yeah.
probably are not very healthy for you at all from a highly processed kind of food, but whatever.
I think that's okay if healthy Christmas is not those words don't need to go together, do they? For one day, we can let that go.
Yeah, yeah,
That's my
definitely.
perspective anyway.
I agree. I agree. But it does bring up some important points around where there may be stress and anxiety around food and eating, and whether or not that's from a sensory issue, whether it's from children who really struggle, whether you'd class them as fussy or restrictive eaters. And of course, anybody who struggles with food has a difficult relationship with food or their body image and eating disorders and things like that.
Yeah,
That in and of itself brings up considerable stress for people around Christmas time.
yeah,
There's just so much, isn't there, that can
there
come up
is.
for people
Yeah,
that make this time of year
yeah,
difficult.
yeah, yeah, and yeah, it hadn't even occurred to me until you'd said there. Even though weight and body image and food issues has been a lifelong thing for me, just
Yeah.
hadn't even. But of course it is. Of course it's there. Whether it's people that are struggling to eat, that are feeling like they've got to eat and they're kind of forcing things down, or whether it's people that struggle to stop eating, and then there's a lot of guilt and I guess the urgency. Some of these foods only come out at Christmas, and then so that feeling of like, "Oh, I've got to get them now," or I won't be able to have them later, or the guilt of gaining weight, or whatever. Yeah, can be
Yeah.
really stressful.
Yeah. There's so much, isn't there?
Yeah,
So I feel like we've spoken quite a bit about what can make the Christmas period difficult or make it hard to be fine or festive. And I'm sure there's lots that we've missed. But how can we then navigate that to kind of have a Christmas that is on our terms? How can we engage with it differently? How can we
mhm,
set different boundaries or expectations for ourselves or other people? Is there
yeah.
anything that you have done that's helped you or that comes to mind that might help other people?
Yeah. So I think this is probably where the next episode is going to come in handy as well, because I think often what can come up when you're trying to ask for what you need from like a sensory perspective is, do other people find that reasonable or not, and if they don't, how do you handle that?
Yeah.
But if I try and stay out of that episode and in this episode, it feels quite tricky to separate those two out, apart from just
Mm.
thinking about what can you control in your own home, and
Mm.
kind of making decisions about what works for you in your own home, and not feeling like you have to wear certain things or eat certain things or do certain things in your own home. That's kind of one place to start, and thinking about giving yourself a bit of time to reflect on what is and isn't working for you. I think the message to just go along with it, or just do whatever aspect of the kind of festive fun that it is, um that actually you might need to pause and think about, do you actually enjoy a thing, or are you doing it because you feel like you should? So I think there's something about just getting clear on what you enjoy and what you don't first.
I think that's a good
Yeah.
point because so often we don't even know what it is that we like and don't like. We just We just do because
Yeah.
it's automatic and it's what's expected of ourselves before we actually check in with, hang on a minute, do I even like this?
Yeah.
Is this how I want to spend my time? Is this what I want to wear? Is this how I'm going to be
Yeah.
comfortable for the day? What do I want to
Mhm.
eat?
Yeah.
And it can start all the way from the beginning of December, December 1st.
Mhm.
When do you like to get your tree and decorate? Is it okay? And well, it definitely is to not like to do any of that and not
Yeah.
decorate at all and know that
Yeah.
that's okay. Trying to set some reasonable limits and expectations for yourselves around who you're giving gifts to and how much you're spending on people. How many social events are you willing or wanting to go to?
Yeah.
And know that you don't have to go, well, you don't have to go to any, but you don't have to go to all of them.
Yeah.
And how can you support yourself if you are going to go to make sure that you're having rest afterwards? And what is
Yeah.
the best way for you to buy gifts? Is it smashing it all out just in one go, or is it just gently ordering stuff bit by bit to your house? From a sensory perspective, I think figuring out what about this time of year you do actually like, whether that is your favorite pumpkin spice latte is now available in the shops, or gingerbread houses, whether you like going out in the evenings to look at the lights or going to a light show, if you like the fragrances or don't like the fragrances. So,
Yeah.
thinking about what things do light me up or bring me joy around this time of year that are to do with Christmas or not to do with Christmas, but just this time of year, and lean more into those. And where possible, change the things that you don't like that overwhelm you or cause you a headache or blind
Mhm.
you, those kinds of things.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think that's really important. But
Mhm.
boundaries are also really important, not just with people, but just in terms of what you yourself are prepared to do. So, whether that's a boundary with yourself about, okay, we're not going to do this, or we are going to do this,
Mhm.
or whether it's about those Christmas expectations. If you want to eat your Christmas dinner in your pajamas, eat your Christmas dinner in your pajamas. If everyone else gets dressed up and you just like, no, Christmas should be about being comfortable and cozy. And if you want to eat your pizza, eat your pizza. And I do want to say I appreciate it's very easy to say, just do this and just do that.
Yeah.
There's a reason why we've not been able to do it to date. It's not that straightforward. But I do think we can start somewhere, even if we're just picking a couple of things that this year we're going to try and do differently that suits us better.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. My brain's split into 2 thoughts. One of the thoughts that I've got is about you can make your pizza Christmas shaped. We've done that a couple of times. So we've had Christmas tree shaped pizzas and snowman shaped pizzas and things like
That's
that.
a great idea.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's something about advocating for yourself as well, and I think there's really something about checking out what works for you, like taking each of the senses and checking out what works for you. So, like having the warm changing your Christmas lights for warm white instead of a bright white can make a difference, or, if you have to go to a shopping centre, taking earplugs with you or having your headphones on, playing music that you find soothing.
Like you
Yeah.
said, draw a map of your way round so you can just get in and get
Yeah.
out without like having to go back and forth to all the different
Yeah.
shops.
Yeah, yeah. Just any little thing that's gonna help you out. Before I realized I was neurodivergent and before I realized how many sensory sensitivities I had, because I'm not the kind of person that will feel irritated by labels in my clothes or seams in my socks. I thought I didn't struggle with that. But actually, as I've learned more about it, I'm realizing that I mean, I like Christmas music, but sometimes it can really grate on me, and if I've heard too much of it, I start feeling itchy and irritated, and then I'm like, oh, what's wrong with me? Why am I so snappy, and why am I so unreasonable? And but as I've started to learn about the kind of sensory pressures and that kind of that kind of cumulative buildup of sensory strain, I can start to put things in place to kind of bring that stress level back down again.
Mm. Yeah,
Mm.
no, there's some really good tips in there and a lot for people to maybe go away and just have a think about in terms of what's going to support them most this
Yeah,
December and Christmas period.
yeah, yeah. Have you still got did you do an ebook that you sold for £5?
Just
That I'd
thinking about
attended?
that, last year, me and my colleague Chloe Parfit ran a free Christmas workshop where we spoke all about the kinds of things we've been speaking about this episode. And we had some really great feedback on how helpful that was because we had lots of tips and tricks and things that you can do for yourself. But on the back of that, we also produced a guide. It was marketed towards autistic people. I think it's an autistic survival guide for Christmas. But that is available to buy. I think it's just under £5. So I'll put the link in here in case anybody is thinking that having a resource to help them reflect on what they actually like and don't like about Christmas and what will help them. There's a lot of stuff like that in there. So I can put that in the podcast notes.
Great. Yeah, that'd be really helpful. If the festive season feels more like an endurance test than a celebration, you're not alone.
Your nervous system isn't being difficult, it's being honest. And maybe the most festive thing you can do this year is honour that.
So if you need to wear sunglasses indoors, leave the party early, or spend Christmas Day in a low sensory environment, that's okay, really.
You don't owe anyone your discomfort, not even at Christmas.
And if someone says you're ruining the Christmas spirit, remember, the real spirit of Christmas should include making space for people's different needs.
Your nervous system is doing the best it can in an overwhelmingly stimulating world.
Next time, we're getting a bit existential, too philosophical to function, when your brain won't stop asking what's the point, but you've still got laundry to do.
But for now, we'll leave you with this. What's one thing you could do this festive season to protect your nervous system, even if it looks nothing like what everybody else is doing?
That's all from us today. If this episode made you feel a bit less alone, the best way to help us reach more people is to subscribe, rate the podcast, and follow Too Much Apparently on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube.
Those simple clicks help other sensitive humans find us when they need it most. Thanks for listening, and we'll be back soon.